Apple's earnings are out and it provided a nice little buying opportunity after hours. Hey everybody. So tonight we're going to be going through about 4 companies that had earnings this evening. If I have time, I'm going to do a 5th, but there's 4 that are probably going to be the main drivers of the market. Obviously, Apple after hours. Earnings came out and we're going to walk through them in a moment here, but overall they were fairly good. So I'm not really sure why we got the opportunity that we got. I'll walk through them in a moment, but we were given a really nice opportunity and we took advantage of it in the trading community down here on this little move. As soon as you flipped, here's your long-legged doji. It just didn't make any sense. So I think it was the panic of Amazon, which we will get into. As always, subscribe to this channel, click all notifications and hit the like button. It helps me greatly with the algorithm, but click all notifications because what we do is very, very timely here. So we flipped, it traded up. I didn't stay in very long, quite frankly, but it was a really easy trade. I think a lot of people overreacted just based upon what's going on with Amazon. This would not surprise me for this to trade up after the conference call. I think people want a little clarification. iPhone sales were a little light. We were looking roughly for that 43.5, so you came in $1 billion short. We've been talking about this for 2 days. They keep cutting and cutting their production, so you knew that they were going to come in weak. Should not have been a surprise. But sales overall, across everything else, they beat 90 billion. That's not a small beat. On an $88 billion estimate, they came in at 90. That's pretty substantial. And earnings are up. So across the board, it reads very well. The negative reason the stock sold off was this particular iPhone revenue number. Yes, I understand it's off, but we knew that that was going to come in light. They've been talking about production now for about 4 weeks. So this is exactly what I would do if I did nothing yet. I would be watching this 15-minute bar and seeing which way we're going to break. And I can tell you that I doubt highly that we're going to see this level again. I think we're going to push through this 145.90. It's what I think, right? I'll trade what's in front of me, but this is what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to push through that level. I think people are going to wonder why they didn't buy it when they had the opportunity. I'm leaning that way with Amazon too. Look at Amazon after hours. I understand this was a bad quarter and we're going to walk through the dumpster fire. But as I always tell people, you need to watch the first 15 minutes if you're going to trade. And if you're not a quick trader, if you're not going to do 1 minute or less, which is what I really would focus on after hours. But if you want to be more of a swing or position overnight, you always watch that first 15 minutes because that's when the algorithms get tired and the high frequency traders. See that range? You never broke it. So now that you have that range, you established the range, right? Now you just watch how it trades up. This was an insane drop. And was this a good quarter? No. And we're going to walk through it in a moment here. But that's insane. This is not meta bad. They're not out there trying to create a metaverse to put us all in. Very different. It's a consumer company. It's the largest consumer company in the world. As moves retail, moves the space. But if we take a look at this, earnings, 28 cents versus 22 cents. Sales, 127 billion versus 127.8. I'm not going to split hairs over that. Like, that's not a big deal to me, and that really shouldn't be a big deal to anybody. This is a big deal. Net sales, 140, 148 versus 155. That net sales number dropping that much going into fourth quarter, when fourth quarter is their strength, right? Christmas season, holidays. That's an issue. Operating income, 0 to 4 billion. That's quite a range they have there. International sales decreased 5% year over year, but increased 12%, excluding changes in foreign exchange rates. Why is this important? Because what's happening here is they were actually up, and people aren't understanding that. When you have the dollar as strong as it is, you're going to have foreign currency issues. That's what you're having. You're in foreign currency issues. So keep that in mind. That's why the stock dropped. There's some other things here that weren't really that great, but here you go. CFA, stronger dollar led to a 900 million headwind the company had anticipated. Okay, so that's not really what they want to see. They weren't hedged properly for that. And as he explains what happens, and he explains it would be a slower growth period, careful in the hiring, they're telling you, hey, we got it. Now, whether or not that stays down here, that remains to be seen. Again, I don't view it as good. I don't view it as the absolute dumpster fire that Meta was yesterday. And if you watched the video last night on Meta and how we've been talking about it for a couple days now, you can see that it pretty much played out as we thought. Just an absolute dumpster fire today, slicing through levels. We gave a couple levels last night, and you can just see that we're through pretty much all of them and heading toward that 89 target that we talked about last night. So keep that in mind. First Solar was not ideal, and we thought we might get another one of these where it follows ENPH. We did not, but the conference call is going well. And while the conference call is going on, the stock actually bounced about $10. I would not rule this out for a possible flat move tomorrow, but I have very low expectations right now. I did pick up a little bit after hours, but when it's 115, 165 to 75 to 110, so you're cutting guidance from 116 to 165 to 75 to 110. That's a big cut for fiscal year. Now you come here and you look at your sales guidance. Okay, your sales guidance, right, from 255, 28 to 26, 27. Well, they're getting a little narrower, and this is your sales guidance. So why are we down here? Is this another question where we're going to run into something where we are having dollar issues? We don't know, but I have not fully listened to the conference call, but since the conference call, the stock's moved $10. Are we going to find out that they didn't hedge currency and that's why their gross profit is down? That would be something that could actually rebound the stock. Something we have to focus on, but you still missed your currency, right? For whether that's currency miss or not, 46 cents, 27-cent loss. Sales came in light, period. 629 to 744. I mean, that's a bad number. That's a real miss, right? When you're in sixes, you're supposed to be in the sevens and you're off about 13% on a quarter. That's definitely something that's worth paying attention to. So we're going to have to see how they account for that tomorrow, or how they account for it this evening, and then we're going to have to see if it's explained, if it's based upon currency. If it is based upon currency, we could see this actually trade up. Now, Intel, everybody just always expects an absolute dumpster fire. So when they don't get one, it has a nice little response. You can see you've traded up on that 15-minute range that I'm constantly preaching and talking about. Look at this range right here, okay? And you can see how clean that is, right? Tries to get over, doesn't, bonk, bonk. So you want to watch this level. That 28 level definitely is something we need to pay attention to. But Intel, 59 cents versus 34 cents. That's nice. Sales, 15.3, missing 15.43. I'll still take it, okay? C's fiscal 22, $1.95 to $2.15. C sales 63 to 64 versus 65. So they're telling you that they're going to see some issues here, right? They're telling you it's going to get a little worse. It says, I don't know how many employees will be cut, but probably some. I have to listen to the whole conference call. I haven't gotten there yet. The cost-cutting measures are what people want to see. The exact opposite of what Zuck did yesterday. This could actually be good for semiconductors. If Amazon comes in, which it did, but we start to see some kind of base or bottom, we're not exactly falling out of bed here on these calls. We were off the open with Amazon, but since then we're starting to bounce a little bit. I would watch these key levels tomorrow and see how we do. This 269.28 is where we're at after hours. If you remember these levels and how we've been here before, we did not break. So we're selling down now. We're not really sure how we're going to open, and we're certainly not sure how we're going to open once we get to the point of futures opening, right? But overall, you're starting to bounce up and you're still within that 15-minute area. So I'm not overly concerned about this yet. We're going to have to watch that level. But tomorrow, watch that 265.43 level on the Qs. Big level. Make sure you watch that level. Now, come back down, okay? And now you're looking at that little wedge line right here. Okay, let's get rid of this wedge line and let's just focus on something very simplistic. You're going to want to pay attention to how you act at this 371.63 if you get there. If not, you really want to make sure you're above 380 by the end of tomorrow. You don't want to be below that. You really don't. Now you can just see right here how we got to this moving average. I'm using a 55. You got right to it, bounced off of it and pulled back. Is that what you want to see? Not really. No, it's not what you want to see. You want to see follow through. But you know what? You could come up, follow through, undercut, and then run again. That can happen. When you're forming bottoms, and no one knows if this is a bottom or not yet, right? And we did close below that 5-day, which no one's going to be crazy, or we are below the 5-day right now, right? Yeah, we closed right on it. So nobody is going to want to be in this position where we are. No one. So you're going to want to watch this very, very closely, and you're going to want to see how this participates. I would watch it if you're watching this evening, watch the Amazon conference call. That'll be a big one. Focus on those levels tomorrow. The earnings tonight are as rough as it's going to get going forward. In other words, Apple is 7% of the market, right? They're 7% of the S&P. So they're going to have the most move on the indexes itself. Now we start going into more company-specific issues like software starting next week. It'll get a little more interesting. That's all I have for this evening. Everybody have a great evening and trade to win tomorrow.